There's all of those things, and you know how it goes when we get closer to the draft, right? There's all this secrecy and these chess moves. Isaiah, what is your biggest takeaway from the Colorado Showcase?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm going to be on record to say that, I'm not a huge fan of showcases just because, especially for the quarterback position, there's not a lot to be told in a QB showcase. You have your receivers, you have your tight ends, your running backs, and it's routes on air. This is what you do in warm-ups. This is what you do a gazillion times in the offseason. So I believe that these scouts are going there just for affirmation. They want to see the footwork in person. They want to see the velocity of the ball. They want to see the ball location. These are all things that they've seen on film, but they may not have seen with their own eyes in person. You have to remember, there's entire scouting departments that these teams have. For the first time, these coaches and decision makers are going to have opportunity to go see this. But they're not seeing them versus DBs. They're not seeing the pass rush. They're not seeing these guys have to do any adjusting. This is as simple as it's going to get for these quarterbacks. So I don't have huge takeaways, but some of these GMs may. In regards to how the Titans have went ahead and canceled the workout, it leaves me curious to say, what is it that they saw or did not see that seemingly leads them to believe that they have their decision made? I'm not sure what the difference was going to be between a Cam Ward and a Shedeur Sanders. When I look at his highlights from that workout, all I can see is the ball wasn't as tight as you wanted it to be. Cam Ward has a little bit more velocity on the ball. They knew that. You're not going to see true footwork in this session because there's no pass rush. So I don't know what they're looking for out of these quarterbacks because this is as easy as a platform as it's going to get.
I hear what you're saying, Isaiah. It's a strong take. I thought this pro day was revelatory. I think my huge takeaway is I don't think you can draft Shedeur Sanders because he pats the football. I think he'll be undrafted all through 7 rounds. There's no possible way you could draft him. Bring up the videotape, guys. Irreparable damage to Shedeur Sanders' reputation as a football player, as a human being. Just watch. Right before he throws, if we can see it, he does a little tap. 1/16th of a second, he pats the ball. And I think you have to take him off the board. Not the first round, not the first. He's going to free fall and end up going into a different line of work because it's not just me saying that. It's not a straw man. Go ahead and go to the social media component. We had high visible players. Andre Sisco, not with the Jets. Boy, better stop patting the ball. We're breaking on that early, okay? And then Darius Slayton on the Giants is trying to defend him, but Micah Parsons comes in. You realize that pat on the ball could be different between a sack or throwaway completion. Again, I don't think you draft Shedeur Sanders because I did the research, guys. There has never been an NFL quarterback who pats the ball who's had any success in the league. I even have videotape. Bring it up. Bring up the videotape. All the guys who pat the ball, like that guy never amounted to anything. Give me more. It's not just a one-off. Matthew Stafford is a pat right before he throws, has never done squat in the league and never made any money. This guy doesn't have a bright future. Look at the pat before the giant deep ball. Again, you can't draft Shedeur. Josh Allen, what, he won MVP? Pat before he throws the ball. Brady, again, he actually played for a team called the Pats, and he's patting. Rodgers, watch, pat, get out of here. Guys, I'm going to go back down to planet Earth now. You knew that after Shedeur's workout, showcase, spectacle, whatever, circus, whatever you wanted to call it, there were going to be takes and there were going to be daggers and there were going to be critics. Even if someone didn't have any criticism, they were going to make it up just to resonate and just to be heard. And that's going to be the Shedeur story at the draft. And when he starts week 1, whatever it may be, there's going to be criticism just for criticism's sake. But standing there watching him, patting the ball before he throws and saying this is going to be a big problem and he's going to break the rookie interceptions record is stupid. It's doing it just for doing its sake. Look at what I just showed you. Don't do it. If you have honest criticism, then make it. But if you're doing it just to do it, stop. Because you know who else pats the ball? Cam Ward pats the ball. And I watched his pro day, and none of you guys said squat. You're saying it because his last name is Sanders, because who his father is, and because you know it'll resonate. He pats the ball just like Josh Allen does, just like Tom Brady does, and on and on and on. If you want to criticize anything about his attitude or his arm strength, fine. But the patting the ball thing is stupid, and I hope we don't talk about it on this show from this day forward. And I know you'll talk about it on the other shows. Good luck. Leave the guy alone unless you have something honest to say. That's my take.
Well, let's think about what's going on the football field when this is happening. Defensive backs are turning, they're running downfield. You have D linemen in your face. You have 6'5" Brock Purdy just came out and said he doesn't see 40% of his receivers down the field. Do we really think people are honing in on the Pat? What I loved about Shedeur's pro day is we got to see the intangibles. You got to see him in the huddle breaking down the guys. That is what a quarterback's all about. I don't need to see him throwing a deep ball with no Micah Parsons breathing down his neck. I want to see him controlling the huddle. I want to see him being a leader of men. After this pro day, he has a chance to talk with the reporters, to talk with some of the coaches, to actually work with the young man and get to know him other than the persona that's out there in media. Shedeur Sanders is ready for the spotlight. Think about the pressure that this young man has been playing under since he was 8-9 years old. With that Sanders on your back, playing quarterback, he has had to overcome an immense amount of pressure. The one thing that I want to see from Shedeur, which we don't get to see in the pro day, is the sacks. He's taken a lot of sacks throughout his time. I'd rather the completion percentage, and I heard this from Jay Gruden. I thought this was brilliant. 74% completion. I'd almost rather see you at 70, 68, but less sacks, less getting behind the chains on first and second down. Speaking from an offensive lineman, that is the one thing that I think Shedeur has to get figured out. But he showed the deep ball, he showed the intangibles, and he showed what's going to make him a first-round pick.
I like it.
I like everything about that, JP. Can we go just a little bit deeper, Kyle? Because I know you say you don't want to talk about this no more. Let's go ahead and talk about the Pat. All right, listen, I may have played a little bit of quarterback in my day. I played quarterback for my entire collegiate career. I'm not that dark. Am I that dark? Okay, let's go into the light real quick. All right, so
where's the light?
Wow. I played quarterback all throughout college, and I backed up Tom Brady for the New England Patriots for about 0.2 seconds, okay? But I'm going to talk about this Pat thing a little bit. What tends to happen for quarterbacks, okay? And yes, it is a crutch. All right, let me go ahead and back up at this light. I'm going to back into the light. All right, so
there you go.
What tends to happen is you like to pat the ball because it's a security thing. When you get the ball from the center, you get the ball, you get both hands on the rock. You always talk about both hands being on the ball because you don't want to get strip sacked. And right before you go ahead and let the ball go, you tend to separate your hands, and quarterbacks naturally have this little crutch, all right? It's like a little tick where you literally pat the ball right before you release the ball. Now, why is this such a conversation? Right? This is a conversation because a lot of defensive backs like to use this as an indicator. You just say, we're going to break all over that. Yeah, maybe, but most of the time, the guys do not get the break that quickly. When you're dropping back, you get a hand on the right real quick, and you let the ball go. Defensive backs like to backpedal, and if it's a slow pat or if a quarterback has a slow, long release, then all of a sudden it's a problem because it's letting me know that you're now releasing the ball. So before the receiver can break, I now see your hands separate, and now I can break on the ball, and that quarter second of a pat gives me the heads up that I need to go ahead and make a play on the ball. But in reality, how many defensive backs are breaking on the ball and making interceptions because a quarterback is patting? It's not a reality. Trust me, I played the position. You just showed highlights of the greatest ones to do it. Go ahead and showing examples of how those guys pat the ball. It's not a thing. It's something that you want to do away with as a quarterback because it does give them a little bit of a heads up, but it's not going to make the difference. And when you look at their stats, Shedeur Sanders is not a turnover magnet. So you can talk about patting the ball all day long. He has a better completion percentage. He has a better turnover ratio. And I believe that he's the better quarterback in this draft. And to your point, Kyle, the hate, as David Chappelle would say, is coming along all day long in regards to the Sanders name.
Yeah, and he can get rid of the padding, or he cannot. Or he cannot get rid of it and just play with it like all the guys and many more I showed who have done it for years. They want you to believe that it is like a poker tell, like someone who is about to double down or bluff and they scratch their eye every time, and you know it's not that easy. And I know that some of the social media discussion amongst players and ex-players around the league was, all right, well, if he does that and you think it's going to be so easy, then all these DBs better have 8+ interceptions this year and get him twice every time they play him. And I know our old friend Jason McCourty was kind of laughing about that, a guy who played DB for years. Listen, the knives were out. The knives are always going to be out. It's going to be the legacy of this guy. Whatever he does, good or bad, there's going to be something to pick at just for picking at sake. I thought he threw really well. And if he had such a bad tell that every DB in the field knows where the ball is going, then why, like Justin said, is his completion percentage so high? Why did he not lead the nation in interceptions? Because he's just telling you where he's going to throw the ball. It's dumb. It's nonsense. I really think it's hot air, and it takes the focus away from how he really performed, which is very well.
And out right now, first down on this one. So did Friday change anyone's opinion on Shedeur? Justin?
No, Friday didn't change my opinion, but I had a high opinion of Shedeur. I mentioned that earlier. He's been playing under the microscope. I love everything he showed from an intangible standpoint. Again, we're going to keep harping on the sacks and being able to limit those. He did get his buddy Travis Hunter out there and was able to get him the ball. So it was good to see those two working. And, I don't think they're going to be playing together anytime soon, but it's good to see Shedeur go through the motions and be the leader that he is. So didn't change my opinion. I still have a very high opinion of Shedeur Sanders.
Isaiah.
I agree with you, JP. Yeah, it didn't change my opinion at all. If you guys saw the first hour, we talked about how these pro days really don't do much in terms of quarterbacks. Even though the NFL brass is sending all their goons, all their decision makers, all their scouts to go check these guys out, the reality is the film has already told the story. I believe that Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in this year's draft. Last year might have been that's a completely different story, but in this year's draft, I believe he's the best because his record shows it. His completion percentage shows it. His touchdowns show it. Right, his interception ratio shows it. I know, JP, you talked about you would like for him to take less sacks. I would much rather a quarterback take sacks than to throw interceptions. So all that is going to come down to him trusting his resources, having a solid O-line, and getting the ball out to his resources. I think that he's going to do well. And I think that if he drops below these top 3 picks somehow, some way, we don't know where he might fall.
Yeah, I hear that. But listen, I'm exhausted. I've spent the entire weekend clutching my pearls over Shedeur Sanders patting the football. I'm insulted by it. I'm offended by it. I think he should retire before he's even drafted. If you haven't seen this, so if we have video of Shedeur at the showcase, circus, spectacle, whatever they called it, he does this little thing before he throws. It's like a quick pat, and it kind of is part of his rhythm. He does it over and over. And here he is, pat, throw. All right, never mind where the throw goes. I don't care if it's deadly accurate. I hate that he patted it. He's undraftable because he patted it. So I talked about this earlier in the show. Not only has pick your Pro Bowl, All-Pro, Super Bowl winning quarterback in the NFL pats the ball all the time. What I don't like is there's all this hubbub about him patting it, and from current players, analysts. It's not a straw man. There are people out there saying, oh, this is a big problem. Bring up Cam Ward throwing the ball. This is just recently. Enough with the tweets. We get the tweets. Bring up Cam Ward throwing the football. The other guy in this draft class. Wait, he better not pat it. He better not. Don't do it. Pat, throw. Terrible angle. Let me see if a better angle as he throws it here. Trust me. He pats the ball. Pat, throw. Guys, I searched all of social media while this show's going on. I couldn't find one post about Cam Ward patting the ball. If you search Cam Ward patting, and if you found one, send it to me, because I don't think there is one. So why is it a problem for Shedeur, but it's not a problem for a guy in the same draft class playing the same position? Could it be that having incendiary takes on Shedeur Sanders are more reactive and better for your hashtag brand, or they get more of a reaction, or they get more engagement? I think it could be, which I think makes it nonsense. I've been screaming about this all morning. I'll continue to. There are reasons not to like Shedeur. Have those reasons. Run with those reasons. Scream them from a mountaintop. I don't begrudge you any of those. But if you actually are downgrading Shedeur Sanders based on this, what are you doing? I feel like you're doing it just for the sake of having a hot take. So that's what what did he do to his draft stock for me? Really nothing. I think he looked solid. I knew he was solid beforehand. But the stock that I have in people who analyze drafts and have dumb takes about him skyrocketed for me.
Hey, Kyle, just real quick before we move on to the next one.
Yeah.
I am right there with you. People are just looking for a reason to hate on Shedeur Sanders. And it's because he's a Sanders. And the reality is everybody would be okay with his confidence. Everybody would be okay with how he speaks if he wasn't a quarterback. If he was a receiver, he's right on task. Oh, if he was a defensive back, that's how defensive backs are. They're confident. Why is it a problem just because he's a quarterback? This is something that is not of the norm, and it's ruffling people's feathers. And people don't like confident people who back up what they say. That is exactly who Shedeur Sanders is. That's exactly who he's been, and I can believe that that's exactly what he's going to be in the league.
You're a quarterback. Did anybody tell you not to pat the football?
Oh, absolutely. And it's something that you try to get away from, because if you're slow with it, then you give a tip. But it's not a deciding factor. Just look at his interceptions. He has less interceptions than Cam Ward. And to your point, every quarterback, for the most part, passes the ball. It's just a part of it. When your hand separates, it's like a security blanket for you to tap the ball just to make sure that you have the ball at a good grip on it.
If Shedeur is there at number 3, should the Giants take him?
Well, after all of that, you would think I would say yes, they should take him. I'm going to say no, they shouldn't take him. And the the fact pattern presents itself. They went out and signed Jameis. They went out and signed Russ. I think the Giants are going to go with best player available. Now, that domino starts to fall at 2 now that we think Tennessee is all but confirmed Cam Ward. I think that the Giants are going to go with either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Those are the 3 transcendent talents in this draft. I think those are the guys that are best set up to come to New York. Now, do I think Shedeur is the best quarterback for the New York Giants if they were going to take one? Yes. With the limelight, playing in New York City, I was a first-round pick in New York City. It is harder to play in these massive media markets, and Shedeur would shine in a city like New York. But I think they are going to go best player available. If I'm the New York Giants, I'm hoping Cleveland goes Abdul Carter and they can get Travis Hunter. Because you saw what he did at his pro day. You saw the routes. He can play defensive back, be a lockdown corner. He can go, be on the other side of Malik Neighbors and make plays for you on the offensive side of the ball. So I think the Giants will go best player available at 3, and I don't think it will be Shedeur Sanders.
I disagree. And the reason why is because you cannot pass on a QB this year if you're the New York Giants. Think about Brian Daboll. He is coaching for his life right now, literally for his existence in New York. They have given him a lifeline. They've given the GM a lifeline to say, hey, we're going to give you one more chance to figure this thing out. And the reason why they're getting one more chance is because when Brian Daboll came in to be the head coach of the New York Giants, he was gifted. Who was he gifted? Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was a gift to him. He was like, here, we need you to take this guy and work with him. He didn't choose him. He went there because he was there already. But this is the first time that Daboll's going to have an opportunity to choose his QB1. Now, you brought up the backup quarterbacks, right, which we consider them to be backup quarterbacks until somebody may be drafted in the first round. But you talk about Russell Wilson. You talk about Jameis Winston. Those guys are under the cap right now for $14 million. $14 million, you get 2 veteran quarterbacks who are, it's not a secret, are at the end of their careers. These guys are not going to be your quarterback for the future. When's the next time that the Giants have a top 3 pick? Well, they hope never. They hope that they don't have a top 3 pick anymore. So you cannot be in a position to take a quarterback in the top three picks and not pull the trigger on one of these guys. They've got Russell Wilson, they got Jameis Winston as an insurance policy in case Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward were both gone by the time it comes to their pick. This is not the situation they want to be in terms of playing those guys. They want them to be backups.
I hear what you're saying. I do. And I look at the 2 pick as well. Kevin Stefanski has never drafted his own quarterback. Baker was there when he got there, and then under the kind of bizarre circumstances, he was handed Deshaun. But we have the luxury right now this week of having you in studio right now, Justin, because this is a first-round pick of the New York Giants. As it pertains to Shedeur, it is more than an athlete, okay? This is a huge thing from a massive family that everybody knows and grew up with. It's a big media piece if you were to come to the Giants. Give us your perspective as a first-round pick of the Giants, and here's the call. Just go. Just cook on this, Pew.
Yeah, now, I was drafted by the New York Giants. Had no idea. I actually grew up in Philadelphia, all Eagles fans. So my friends right now are all mad because they're here in New York Giants.
Who's that guy who's hugging you in the striped shirt? Who is that?
That's one of my best friends. His name's Jake Shear. He does scouting now. He scouts players. So they're all like saying the curse word Giants. We would always say the effing Giants.
Of course.
But they would say it negatively. I now say that positively. It's the effing Giants. It's New York City.
Yep.
It is. You look at this skyline and everything changes. I get goosebumps. There's a reason why I wanted to come back here. Shedeur Sanders is made for a city like New York.
Yeah.
He is a player that can handle the limelight. He can handle the name on his back. He can handle the media. He can handle going to dinner after a loss and someone says, Shedeur, you shouldn't be out. You shouldn't be eating because you haven't won a game.
Yeah.
And that is how passionate the New York fans are. That's the beauty of it, because when you win, it's unlike any place on planet Earth. Ask Eli Manning. When you go down the Boulevard of Champions and you win a Super Bowl. So if there was a quarterback that is best set for New York, it is Shedeur Sanders. And now there's 2 teams that have picks in the top 10. The Giants are at 3. The Jets are also sitting there at 7. He might be in New York one way or another.
Let's talk about Travis, right? He showed up at the combine, showed up everywhere, but only today all he's doing is catching passes.
Why would he do more?
That's my question for you.
Why would he do more? Like, it's some guys that need it, it's some guys that have it, and the only thing they could do is hurt it. When I was coming out, I was ranked, the top cornerback. Why would I do drills at the combine? I'm already one. That don't make no sense to me. I'm going to give you this 40 just to let you see me exercise. Then I'm getting ready to go to the crib. Travis Hunter is that. He got 3 years of superb film to his credit, he's played 100 and some snaps. Every game. You ain't seen it. What you need to see?
Exactly.
I love it. I love Deion's answer. That leads us into third down. Did Travis make any type of statement? By the way, this is us just trying to read into every little thing. So, guys, did he make any type of statement by only catching passes, Justin?
He 100% made a statement. You know how he made a statement? He didn't have any gloves on. He's out there snagging these balls, not one bobble, not one fumble, nothing. When you turn on the tape, you see the talent. He is one of one. He is a generational style of player. You don't need to be a football expert. You don't need to have all the guru background. You watch this man run routes, that's a football player. He is doing things on a field that you're like, wow. This is something that you can't coach, you can't teach. You show up, you line up, and you are the best player on the field. But for me, I put those receiver gloves on before. They got a little stick to them, and he didn't have any of that. There was not one bobble. There was not one pat of the ball. We've been talking a lot about pat. Right. Travis Hunter is an elite talent. He's one of one. You draft him, and you sleep well for the next decade.
The answer is no. All they did was take the present and shake it up to try to find out what was inside of it. That's what he did. He just took the present and shook it up a little bit just so you guys could say, hey, guess what? Did you see what he did? He wants you guys talking about him a little bit. You just heard Deion there. Why would he go out there and harm himself? That's all he can do. He can go out there. He can tear an Achilles. He can roll an ankle. He can do all those things. He doesn't have to prove anything. As we've said on this show, as Rap have said as many times, he is the best receiver. He's the best DB in this year's draft. That makes him the best player in this draft. And he is going to go out there and hopefully, like you said, hopefully he has an opportunity to prove it on both sides of the ball. Obviously, it depends on the organization that he goes to, but this is the most dominant player in this year's draft, hands down.
You shake the present a little bit, and if you really got some stones, you peel the wrapping paper back just a tiny bit to peek inside there. That's what we got. I don't think it was a statement about what position he's going to play. He's on record many times that he wants to play full-time both positions. I think it's very cool that he played without gloves. I think there's something throwback about that, as if you needed to see more from Travis Hunter, you saw it. And it's history. We've never seen I'm the best receiver and I'm the best defensive back, both. So it's a top 5 pick, and it's kind of like Deion saying, like, what am I going to come out here and either A, injure myself, or B, give you something that's going to criticize me? Like, some of these guys just have a mystique. Lamar Jackson never ran a 40 leading up to the draft. We still don't know what Lamar Jackson's 40 time is. Now, he was later in the draft, and he went to the end of the first round, which Travis Hunter's not going to. I'm at the place now where we're just a couple weeks away from the draft that my dream landing spot for Travis Hunter is New England at 4. I want him at 4 because my dream is I want him to see him play heavy snaps on both sides of the ball. For that to happen, I think you need some coaches who are not going to be rattled by anything, who are completely secure in themselves. Mike Vrabel, head coach, Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator. The head coach is a defensive guy who doesn't make any apologies, does whatever he wants. The coordinator is an offensive guy who has been around the block a million times and has Super Bowl rings. Those are guys with the confidence and the spine and the balls to say, we're really going to do this. We're going to draft him, and we're going to get him heavy snaps on both sides of the ball. I think some of these other coaches just, I don't know. We don't know to get him injured. It's never happened before. There's no plan for it. I think I look earlier in the draft, especially something like Tennessee and the Cleveland and Giants. They got great coaches, of course. But I just think like the guys on New England are varsity. They've been around defense, offense. I think it's the right spot for him. Plus, New England is so short on weapons and talents that they really need to maximize him. That's my dream, is that he goes to Foxborough, and in a couple weeks we find out.
And KB, and New England is really the only team that has experience doing this, right? Mike Vrabel is the only coach who truly understands what it means as a player and as a coach to allow somebody to be fruitful on both sides of the ball. So I agree with you there. Dak's
backup, Milton, was previously with the Patriots. And that leads us into our second topic, the Cowboys 2025 offseason. Isaiah, we're going to start with you. You're in Dallas. Should we be concerned? You work for the team. No pressure.
Yeah, no, there's no concern. And I know that a lot of people, obviously, the Cowboys, they're the star. They're, as Kyle would say, at times, America's team. But the reality is, these guys have made some very strategic moves. Now, is it the big splash moves that everybody is looking for? Is it the big headline moves that everybody's looking for? The answer is no. But I would like to bring up a graphic and show the work that is being done by the new head coach, Brian Schottenheimer. These are the most under-the-radar additions that the Cowboys have made. There has been a point of emphasis of controlling the line of scrimmage in Dallas, and this is who Brian Schottenheimer has hired. He went out and got Cardinals O-line coach Clayton Adams to be his offensive coordinator. Clayton Adams was regarded and is regarded as one of, if not the best, offensive line coach in the NFL. What else did they do? They went out and hired the offensive line coach, Connor Riley, who happens to be considered to be the best offensive line coach in college football. There's an emphasis in the trenches. What else did they do? They went to the defensive side of the ball, and they hired Aaron Whitecotton. Who is Aaron Whitecotton? Well, he just happened to be the best defensive line coach in the NFL. So they got the best offensive line coach, they got the best offensive line coach, and they got the best offensive line coach out of college. These guys are putting a point of emphasis in the trenches. I know, JP, you can appreciate that. When you talk about Bryden Schottenheimer, he's not the big headline coach that everybody was looking for, but sometimes they just have to do his job, and that is to be a manager of men. You don't have to be the do-it-all coach. You don't have to be the guy that simply is regarded as a Bill Belichick or Mike Tomlin or any of these big high-arching coaches. If you put guys in place to do what they do best, then you can have some success. And that has been the focus of the Dallas Cowboys, and they're building it from the big fellas up front, and it might be a little bit of a tip of the hat as to what they may be planning to do in this year's draft.
Isaiah, I'm a bit nervous for your Cowboys. Now, look, I know you're with the team. Every offseason, it seems like the Cowboys do this over and over again and say, hey, we're the Dallas Cowboys. You should want to be our coach. You should want to come play for us. You should want to take a pay cut. And every single year, we play poker with our players. We pay Dak Prescott $60 million a year. We're paying CD at the top of the market. We claim we don't know who Micah Parsons' agent is, and we're going to end up paying him the highest defensive paid player in the league. Now, I'm looking at the trenches right now, and I'm still wondering, did we address those, right? We have some young talent that we drafted. We think we have some guys up front, but we have to continue to prove that day in and day out. The Dallas Cowboys, yes, you have Dak, you have CD, you have Micah, but after that, there's still some question marks. You look at Mozzie Smith. Osa Odigizua is a great player. Love that they paid him and got that deal done. But every time I turn on the TV or I hear something going on, I was down at owner meetings and seeing the hoopla that comes out of Dallas, there is 100% concern when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, because I still see a team that finished the year stronger than many people thought. They're getting Dak Prescott back, but I'm not having all the answers. You look at the NFC East, you look at what the Commanders have done, you look at what the Philadelphia Eagles and who they are. Obviously, the New York Giants are bringing up the rear, and they have a lot to prove, but I'm still a little nervous in Big D.
There he is. There's the man. For the sake of this segment, Isaiah, you're the man. I want everyone to understand at home that Isaiah literally works for the Cowboys, and he's being asked point blank, are you concerned? It'd be like someone asking me, like, has the 2025 NFL Media Group offseason given you a reason for concern? Well, we have the departure of Peter Schrager. Like, break that down. No. I think we're fine because we have this, and this. Like, it's not the most easy thing to answer, and I think you're doing God's work going and talking about the trenches and the coaches and everything. Isaiah, it's a really, really strange time for the Cowboys. I'm not going to say good or bad. It's strange because there is very little buzz and there is very little sizzle. And in these most unusual circumstances, listen, it's not just Philadelphia. Washington is a bright, shiny object who has been nothing for the last 20 years. Now they're one of the coolest teams in the league. And the Giants seem fun, and they're going to draft someone really high, and they got Jameis and Russell. Like, there is so little buzz. So even when the Cowboys are the Cowboys, for all their faults, they still have buzz, and it's still Jerry surrounded by microphones, and you're hanging on every word. Are you right now? Like, Micah might get paid. He should get paid. They have this 12 draft pick, and no one knows who they're going to take. Even in a lot of the draft breakdowns, which we do 24/7, there's not a lot of Cowboys conversation and Cowboys takes. So we're at a place right now where what we should be, the headline of their offseason by far, should be that Mike McCarthy was let go, and they have a new Dallas Cowboys head coach. And there was a time when the Cowboys had a new coach. It was, oh my God, this is leading every show and every segment. And we're like, yeah, I mean, no one's that fired up about it. So I'm not concerned. I'm not excited. I'm a little bit bored, and I'm just waiting for this jolt of electricity. It didn't come in free agency. It's not coming from a Micah contract. Maybe it comes from the draft. I want them to clear the table on draft night, trade up, go from 12 to 8, to do something really bold. And like, The Cowboys mean business. They're not just going to hand this season to the Eagles and the Commanders. I'm a little bit bored. And all this time in my entire life, I can remember thinking the Cowboys were great. I can remember thinking the Cowboys were bad. I can't ever really remember thinking the Cowboys were boring. And they are right now.
You know what, Kyle? I respect that take, but in the words of Mr. Deeds Butler, the Cowboys are being very, very sneaky right now. Very, very sneaky. And the reason why I say that is because in this league where we're so used to seeing the headlines and we want to see Rap Sheet come on there and talk about who just got signed, it gets forgotten and it gets left behind this thing called development. There's this thing called development that still has to take place. Coaches still have a very influential role in this league, and everybody wants the player that has already made it. He's already that guy. He's already the star that everybody wants. When in reality, when you look at most teams' rosters, they might draft somebody in the first round. They might draft somebody in the seventh round. Regardless of where they were drafted, there still has to be coaching and progression and development that has to take place. So when you look at the trenches, you look at the offensive line, Dallas has 2 first-round picks on the offensive line that have to continue to get developed. One of them is an all-pro already. One of them didn't do anything last year, and Tyler Guyton, he has to figure out life. That's why they brought in some help there. I still think that obviously Zach Martin left a huge gaping hole on the offensive line, but they have a couple guys that most people wouldn't know about. There are some brawlers in there, JP, that you could appreciate that have the gut and the will and the gall that just need some coaching and development. On the defensive side of the ball, Mozzie Smith, he's a first-round pick. Hasn't come along. What do? They get White Cotton to go out there and help him, right? So this development piece is there. The Cowboys have always been competitive. That is not me just because I work for them. That is the reality. They've always been competitive. The issue has always been they haven't got over the hump. So what's going to take to get over the hump?
You know, guys, wipe the tears away. What is the one word that describes your feelings on Cooper Kupp's departure? Justin, kick this thing off.
I know we're trying to be emotional, but I'm going business. This is a business. This is the NFL. I had a chance to talk to Sean McVay down at owners' meetings, and he said, look, I came in with Cooper Kupp. 2017, they were both young guys starting out in this business. He wins a Triple Crown. He wins a Super Bowl. Every dog will have his day, and it's time for him to move on. This is a business. I don't care how much you love someone. Everyone wants to get paid for going out there and playing football, and unfortunately, we saw Puka there. Puka's playing the exact same position as Cooper Kupp. They go out, get Devontae Adams. It's the nature of trying to win Super Bowls. And Sean McVay will put no one in front of that. And that's why this is a business. And it's just a reminder. Follow the money. It tells the story.
Yeah, you might be following the money, but I'm going to go ahead and follow the respect. The fact that they are holding this man in such high regard, to me, is just the ultimate tip of the hat, the ultimate show of respect. This is not how you transition from one team to the next. When you watch that video, all you see is respect from coaches to former players and Whitworth being there to obviously the quarterback to Puka Nacua, the guy who is ultimately the reason why he's moving along to another team, because Puka Nacua is the next man up. They're showing so much respect to Cooper Kupp and what he's done for this organization, how he's built up that position. I know Coach Yarbs, the receivers coach, is in the fields right now as well because he's done a heck of a job with that unit. But just huge respect to how they're allowing him to go out, allowing him to still work out with the team, and knowing that he's just going home to wrap up his career.
Yeah, I have to say, watching the video, it's very charming to me that they got the boys together for one last bro session and one last lift and just to hug it out. Like it's very relatable on a small scale. Like one last poker game before, you know, you're never going to be the same friends again or something like that. So I mean, just have a legend like that. Cooper Kupp is an all-time Ram, and he's an all-time Rams receiver for an organization that has had some incredible wide receivers. Listen, we cannot overlook the idea of what he did in the 2021 season. He had 145 catches. It's unbelievable. 16 touchdowns, 1,900 plus yards. And it's not just that he's a good player. It's like Cooper Kupp represents something. Cooper Kupp is for every kid out there who thinks they can make the NFL and maybe they're not Calvin Johnson physically. This is a third-round pick out of Eastern Washington. It says something about dreams. It says something about the NFL draft, that you pay attention to those third-round picks because they could end up being legends. They could end up being Hall of Famers. That third-round pick out of Eastern Washington was eating secondaries alive whenever he felt like it. He was an unstoppable player. And business is business, and he's got to leave, and I get that. But an all-time Ram, an all-time 21st century wide receiver, just a fantastic player who gives a lot of kids dreams and a lot of players things to aim for. So I miss him. I think that's an absolute legend. I hope he goes and has 100 catches for the Seahawks this year, but he's an all-time Ram, and I miss him already.
I'm going, watching the video, I'm going bittersweet with the little crying emoji.
Nice.
When you talk to these guys, almost any player, when you ask them when they're done playing what they're going to miss the most, I've never heard anyone say the game on Sunday. Everyone always says the time I spent in the locker room. I swear to God, right? It feels like across the board, guys always say what I'm going to miss the most is being with the guys in the locker room because, and you know that once you trade, it's not the same, right? Like you've got different pockets of friends in different cities and teams, but when you have something special the way he did, it won't be the same in that way. And yes, he will suit up on Sundays, and yes, he will still play, and yes, he can still find success and all those things. But that group that you saw there, that part will not be the same. And I think as I was watching that video, that was what was going through my mind, is that you constantly hear guys say, and it's not even like what's your most favorite one memory. Someone will say the Super Bowl, or someone might say this game where I broke this record. But when you say what are you going to miss the most about the game, guys always say that it's the time spent with those guys in the locker room. And so that's what I was thinking as I was watching that video. And you don't see that. I don't think I've ever seen that before, where they put out like this video where you guys get one last workout in. So Justin, I was really surprised. Cutthroat right out of the gate on that one. Just business. Like, hey, it's what the suit says. We should have known. The suit says business.
This happened to me when I left the New York Giants. You think you're going to go somewhere, you're on scholarship in college, you get drafted somewhere, and then the business of football kicks in. The salary cap takes over, and they're like, hey, you value yourself here, and this is where the team values you. So for me, I think if we can get down to the baseline of the money tells the story, it's like, let's get over our feelings, let's go play football. He's going to have 2 times each year to go prove the Rams wrong.
No doubt.
You're right,
okay.
and he probably will.
The Lions' Aidan Hutchinson broke his leg during Detroit's Week 6 matchup with the Cowboys, ending the Stars season prematurely. Hutchinson posted some video of the progress he has made on Instagram recently as a source of motivation for the upcoming season. You see him running there. What is one word that describes your feelings seeing Hutchinson running? Justin, for redemption, let's go.
Well, am I going to get emotional here? Not too emotional. He is moving. To see a big man moving at that speed, if you listen to the audio, you hear him trucking and getting after it. He's working out with Brett Fisher, one of the best PTs in football, had him in Arizona, had his own facility. Hutchinson was trying to make a comeback for when he came back for the Super Bowl. He is going to be raring to go. Yeah, you can hear him right there. It's like when you watch Serena play tennis. You can hear the violence. He's coming back with vengeance. He's going to have a time to get after it. He had led the league in tackles for losses and sacks before he went down. Excited to see him get back out there.
I'm going to go for this one. If you know, you know. I got vibranium. Like that guy is made of something different. I know we saw him break, and it was absolutely just crushing to watch as a fan. But the physicality of him running on that repaired leg and everything he's going to do this year, I have vibranium. It comes from Wakanda. You can tell me, Isaiah, if you feel like it's the right thing. I feel like Aidan Hutchinson, as a guy who is going to the cookout, I think also has the vibranium, and I'm excited to see it.
I think he might be the first white dude from Wakanda, but I'll take it. I'm going with the Miz's favorite word, awesome. And the reason why I'm saying awesome because I have been there before, not necessarily with a broken leg, but I have had 7 surgeries during my time playing in the league and in college. And I know the mental fortitude that you have to have in order to come back from these injuries. You are trying to prove yourself wrong more than you're trying to prove everybody else wrong. And I know that sensation that you get when you're out there running for the first time, or you start seeing little tidbits of what your former self used to be, you get excited. You are overcome so much with the injury. It was a traumatic injury, and now you're working every single day just to get back to who you were and hope that you can surpass that. So I think it's awesome that he's back on the field moving, because I know that he's elated right now in his heart.
You know what I see? I see destruction for everyone else in the league. I see this guy running, and I feel like he is just going to get after it and just destroy everyone in his path next season.
Justin Pugh, straight off the couch.
All right. Let's talk what we just saw as we see Mark Glowinski's beautiful beard there. All right, we're here with Justin Pugh. This is a guy who played a long time in the league, first-round pick of the Giants. But that clip we just saw of you was from 2023. Very, very recent, and everybody got a laugh out of it because they like when they change up your intros and everything. But there might have been a little bit more going on. And for those who remember that and those who don't, tell us the story, Pugh, of what you were doing there.
So I started my career with the New York Giants.
Yeah.
The first 5 years, I talked about the business, went to the Arizona Cardinals, and as my career was coming to an end, I tore my ACL in Week 10 of the season before, 2022. I was like, I need to get back to New York. I want to get involved in finance and real estate. What's a better place to go than the New York Giants? So I'd hatched this scheme to get back on the New York Giants. They're in Arizona playing the Cardinals. Their left guard gets hurt. I'm living down the street from the facility. I go work out for the Giants. They say, hey, Justin, we want to bring you back on the team. And I said, I got a couple things. I'm not playing tackle. I only want to play left guard. I want to get a couple weeks to ramp up. As we're getting ready to play in that first game, I re-signed with the New York Giants. I'm doing internships every Tuesday. And I'm like, we need you to play this weekend, Justin. Joe Shane gives me a call and says, hey, Justin, we need you to play this week. I know you've been here 3 days. We're playing the Buffalo Bills. You're going to play left guard. It's like riding a bike. 4 plays into the game, the left tackle gets hurt. He says, Justin, I know you haven't played in 8 years at left tackle. I need you to go out there and I need you to block Von Miller. So lo and behold, I didn't know I was going to go out to left tackle and have to do that. But when we're arriving on the bus, we do our Sunday night intros, if you're a player that just gets signed, right at the hotel before. And I wasn't coming from Syracuse. I wasn't coming from any practice. I hadn't put pads on since tearing my ACL a year previously. My first contact was pregame against a defensive lineman.
Sure.
And I'm pretty sure I got a little bit of a buzz upstairs. So I said straight off the couch fittingly because I literally was on a couch the week before, and then I was starting on Sunday Night Football. So everyone out there, it's not impossible for you to go from sitting on the couch to starting on Sunday Night Football. But it was all part of a master plan.
I love it. Let me jump in here with the follow-up. So I hope this answer, this is not dreadful. How did it go against Von when you were out to left tackle?
It went well. Now, I didn't know when you're on the road, everything's on silent cadence. So everything's based off the center's head, and it's Bob. That takes timing. When you're at left tackle, you're looking in at the center, and as soon as he goes to lift his head, you set, and that's how you know the play is coming. Now, it was a little bit rough to start. You say straight off the couch, and then you have let up a sack. You have 2 false starts in a row. You don't get out of your stand. Then we almost came back and won that game with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
And the fans loved it after. Like, hey, straight off the couch, and then you went out there and almost led us to victory. I actually ended up grading out as our best offensive lineman that week. The next day, I'm negotiating my contract with Joe Shane. He's like, I've never had to negotiate with a practice squad offensive lineman before. So that's,
Hey,
Joe.
JP, hey, first of all, shout out.
Different times for all of us.
Shout out to you, because that's almost impossible to do. So obviously kudos on that. But help the people real quick understand the difference between playing guard and playing left tackle. What's the island like?
20 seconds.
It's like playing defense against Allen Iverson when you're out there at tackle. You're going against the best defensive lineman in the NFL. Guard is more like a car crash. You're hitting those guys, you're in a phone booth. So that's kind of the difference in space.
Wow. Incredible. I love that. Right off the couch to GMFP, too.
By the way, he can take the cues. You said 20 seconds. He did it in like 15. That's broadcast boot camp for you. I mean, make those adjustments quick. We're back. More GMFP after this.
Wow. That's Larry Fitz, one of the best of all time, looking at Julio Jones, saying he's the best he's ever seen, is explosive and have no weaknesses, and none of us have any arguments. Julio Jones decided to announce his retirement on Friday. We remember his long, long run with the Falcons, and he's been on a bunch of other teams here. He was always the freak among freaks, and we are going to give ourselves and you a gift right now of looking back at what we consider to be Julio Jones' 10 most incredible plays of his career. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Go ahead.
4th and 3. Meanwhile, they better get the snap here because the play clock is at 1. They do. Off they go. Catches may get the first and a lot more. Julio Jones out in front. He's going to go all the way. Touchdown. 54 yards on a 4th and 3.
Bold decision. What a play by Jake Matthews, and finished off by the superstar Julio Jones.
And Ryan looking for the home run ball to Julio Jones, and got it. And this is a touchdown, no penalty flags. 80-yard touchdown throw.
And Julio Jones is so strong, you're not going to just grab him with your hands like that and get him down. He takes and sprints to the end zone.
Ryan 1st and 20, going to go right back that way at Jones again. Another flag down, and a one-hand tremendous grab by Jones. What a play.
Left-handed.
What a catch. Wow.
What a battle between Julio and Antonio Cromartie, and that's the play of the night.
Falcons football down 3 from their own 2. Play fake. Ryan, all kinds of time going deep.
Julio Jones, he caught it. He was just trying to prevent an interception, and he caught it.
Wow.
An old teaching point in the NFL. When in doubt, throw it up to your best player, Julio Jones. My goodness, you look at that effort. That is phenomenal by Julio Jones. Unbelievable.
I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that.
3 minutes to go in the quarter. And on second and goal, they're going to throw the fade. And there's Jones. And good luck trying to stop that.
Well, if you ever played basketball, you understand the concept, right? You go down, a bigger guy is going to get rebound position, jump up in the air, get your feet down. It's a great job by Julio Jones, because if Hargraves had been able to push him out of bounds, would have been incomplete. He got those feet down.
This is Ryan. Caught.
Talk about vice grips for hands. Watch Julio Jones reach over and then pull it over the top out of the hands of Malcolm Butler, who thought he had an interception. Just too big, too strong. We talked about it, double coverage or not. Sometimes you just have to give that monster a chance. And I say that with all due respect.
First down, Ryan. And he's looking for Julio Jones. And oh, what a catch. Touchdown, Atlanta. How Julio was able to contort, turn around, and be able to find that football.
Well, like a center fielder chasing a long fly ball, keeps going, keeps his eyes on it. How about that over-the-shoulder catch? He's one of the best in the NFL.
Thomas showing blitz. He comes with a blitz. Falcons pick it up, and there's Jones. Flag is down. Julio Jones with a catch. Still going. Still inbounds. Touchdown, Atlanta. No match to try to play man coverage on Julio Jones.
The pass. Holding. Defense number 36.
This one good from 73 yards out. Twice he walked the tightrope down the sideline. All 6'3", 226 of him. Took it into the end zone, and boy, have these fans had fun here today or what?
Got to get to the 43. Pocket collapsing. Ryan rolling, looking. Just going to throw it deep for Jones. Double coverage. Oh, what a catch! Touchdown! 70 yards to Jones. Ridiculous.
Matt Ryan says, go deep. This is like on the streets in Philly. And Julio Jones up and over, posterizes Luke Kuechly. What a play by a great player in Julio Jones. That's special.
Unbelievable.
That is special.
Extra men on the rush. Ryan steps through it, throws on the run, and Jones with a catch. Phenomenal catch by Julio Jones on the sideline.
I have no idea how Matt Ryan gets this ball in there and how Julio Jones is able to make that catch and keep his feet in bounds and secure the football. I mean, that's unbelievable coverage by Eric Rowe underneath him. There was just nowhere to put this football, and yet he finds a spot that only Julio Jones can make a play on. That's pretty incredible stuff right there. I mean, this guy, it seems like every time I watch him play, he comes up with a play that's better than the one I'd seen previously, and that's as good as it gets.
Breathtaking catch. 6'3", 220, ran a 4.3. This is a guy who was a five-star recruit, #1 wide receiver in the nation coming out of high school. Started his first game as a true freshman under Saban at Alabama and had a touchdown. No wide receiver had ever done that in Alabama history. And now here we are all these years later. Guys, we just watched that incredible highlight display. Pew, I'll start with you. What do you think watching Julio do his thing?
Well, I think you saw like the 5th clip right there against the New York Giants. I'm sitting there on the sidelines. They're backed up. We're getting ready to go out there and get a short field goal score. And Julio makes that catch. I had the pleasure of playing with guys like Odell Beckham, Larry Fitzgerald, who we saw the clip of earlier, DeAndre Hopkins. When you have a guy like that is a true alpha, #1 X receiver, you just say screw it and you throw it up to him sometimes. And that's what Matt Ryan did. He said, you know what? Julio's down there somewhere. He's going to make a play. And that's what he's done time and time again. You can go all the way back to his highlights when you were a young child out there. You got to see Julio Jones and look up to how does God make someone like that on the football field, and some of the catches he made in high school, and then what he did throughout his entire career. He is truly a special receiver. Hats off to you, Julio.
Yeah, some guys are just not of this earth. Some guys are not born. Some guys are just created. And this dude is literally the receiver that you create when you play Madden. Everybody likes to take all their attributes up to 99. That is who Julio Jones is. This dude is a physical specimen. And when you go back and look at all those highlights, first of all, great rundown, Kyle. Those were amazing highlights. You look and see his ability to track the ball. It is one of the most underrated attributes that a receiver has. You saw the distraction drill with the DB, almost got the interception, and you can see him still tracking the ball no matter what, looking through the hands. When the ball over the shoulder is following all the way there like you heard the outfielders do in baseball, his ability to dial in on the ball and know where it's coming, track the velocity, track the angles, all those things, and be able to secure the catch. And then we're not even talking about eating cereal off of people's heads. How many balls did he snatch away from people? He like just little boy son to everybody. Just give me that little partner. Like he did that all the time, and it was expected of Julio. And that's why when your QB like Matt Ryan has that kind of trust in you, he's just going to throw it up there and watch you make plays.
I'm glad we showed that because we can sit here and talk about how good Julio Jones is. And it's not like you forget, but Isaiah and I are sitting here watching this in studio, and I can't tell you how many times we were like, oh, my God. And at one point I looked at Isaiah. I go, that's play number 7. We got like 6 more of these to go. That was like 7, and it was like the most ridiculous play of somebody else's career that they would have ever made. What a nightmare for the Buccaneers. They were all over that. They were all over that top 10 because they had to deal with them in the division. Then he ended up at the end of his career going down there to Tampa. But I remember talking to him in Atlanta. I did a lot of Atlanta games back in the day, and he didn't say a lot off the field. And I remember there was a game where he had like addressed the team, and we were talking to everybody about it. He didn't say a lot, but he was one of those guys that obviously his plays did the talking. But when he said something or he talked to the team, you listen, right? And his words meant more. They were weighted more because he was kind of a quiet guy in that aspect. But you look at those plays, and Kyle, there are no words. He is what Isaiah said. Some of those plays are just not human.